All right, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. I want to give a special thanks to Ryan Cherry. Thank you very much for the 2 super thanks. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you for being a long-time supporter of this channel. Our comment of the day comes in from Daniel Song. He says, "Oh yeah, Jordan did good against plumbers and firemen, but he ain't got nothing on LeBron." I mean, again, it just, how do you even address these people at this point? It doesn't matter the era. It doesn't matter if it was in the 50s, the 70s, the 90s, the 2010s. Anybody who has that resume is the undisputed GOAT. It doesn't matter. Whenever people start talking about eras, all they're doing is, well, it wasn't as good back then as it is now. And like I've said to at least 15 morons who frequent this channel, in 20 or 25 years, they're going to look back at this era and say, oh, well, yeah, those guys, and they were all jacking up threes and there was no defense around. So that is stupid, like Dart used to say. So the special forces of today would wipe the Spartans off the map of 2,000 years ago, right? But in 100 BC, the Spartans were the top fighting force in the world. I just have to chalk it up to youth, uneducated, and everything has to be the best in my era because I saw it. You know, Michael Jordan wasn't even my era when I was growing up. I was already in my 20s before Jordan won his first championship. I think I was 20 when Jordan won his first championship. I was a Larry Bird fan at 10 years old. But anyway, in this video here, we're going to talk about your boy, LeBron, and my top 25 and what their all-time team would look like. Now, my only stipulation is the player when they played with that player. So it's not going to be prime so-and-so. It's going to be how they looked, how they were, the age of them, whatever, when they played with that player. I'll just get right into it so you know what I'm talking about. All right, Elgin Baylor. The all-time point guard for me, the way he was at the time, is Archie Clark. He made All-Star when he was with Elgin Baylor. Jerry West, definitely the shooting guard. Baylor's the small forward, of course. Power forward is probably Rudy LaRusso. And the center would be Will Chamberlain. Now, that's a great team. I mean, you got 2 of the top 15 all-time players. And the other notables are Gail Goodrich. Now, he only came in the very beginning of his career towards the end of Elgin Baylor. So I thought Archie Clark was better than Goodrich at that point in their careers. Dick Barnett, he was actually a Hall of Famer, played a lot on the Knicks. Vern Nicholson played with George Mikan. But he also did play with Elgin Baylor, I think just for 1 or 2 years at the very end, the very beginning of Elgin Baylor's career. So I figured I'd put him on as a notable. But certainly that would be, in my mind, Elgin Baylor's all-time starting 5 would be Archie Clark, Jerry West, Rudy LaRusso, and Will Chamberlain. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's one of the 3 or 4 guys that I thought was pretty thin. Giannis's point guard for me is Drew Holiday. Now he had like Brandon Knight, and you got Damian Lillard. But I thought Drew Holiday, when he was on Milwaukee, was an all-around better and more impactful player than Damian Lillard was. Now, if it was prime Damian Lillard, sure, absolutely. But it wasn't. Shooting guard, I got Eric Bledsoe. He made some all-defenses. He was getting over 15 points a game. What other shooting guard you got? Small forward, Chris Middleton, no-brainer there. He made all-stars, scoring a lot of points. And then the center, Brook Lopez, because he was basically his only center for 8, 9 years. Nikola Jokic, all-time point guard for him, no question, Jamal Murray. He may not have made an all-star, but he's an all-star level player. You know, this guy has more 50-point playoff games than Kobe Bryant or LeBron James. He's got the same as those two combined in the playoffs. And I believe combined, they've played close to 500 playoff games, LeBron and Kobe. And Jamal Murray has played what? Not even 100? And he's already got 2 50-point games. They got 1 each in the playoffs. And again, I know the era has a lot to do with it, but these are high-level scores, right? I got Contavious Caldwell-Pope as the shooting guard. You could go with Michael Porter Jr. or whatever his name is. Small forward, Danilo Gallinari. I think that's an easy one. When Jokic first came in the league, he was the best player on the team. Power forward, Aaron Gordon. So his team isn't looking all that great either, but he won a championship with that team, minus Gallinari. David Robinson, pretty straightforward in my mind. His point guard, because he only played with rookie Tony Parker for 1 year. Avery Johnson, that was his point guard most of his career. Vinny Del Negro at shooting guard. Now, you could make a case for Derek Anderson. He did have 1 year. He played good. Okay, maybe. And then small forward, I got Sean Elliott. Power forward, obviously Tim Duncan. Some notables, though. He also played with Dennis Rodman and Terry Cummings, who was putting up very good numbers in Robinson's very early Spurs days. Kevin Durant. Now, this is one of the richest guys I've seen on this list. He played with some unbelievable players, and only getting 2 championships, only when teaming up with guys of this caliber, yeah, that says a lot about Durant. He never led a team to a championship. Led them to the finals once, but that was it. Steph Curry would be the point guard, James Harden the shooting guard. Now, I'm not talking about rookie or second year James Harden. I'm talking about when he was on Brooklyn, James Harden. Power forward would be Draymond Green, and then the center would probably be that Alperen Sengun guy right now, believe it or not. He didn't really play with a lot of great centers because most of the teams just didn't have centers. Serge Ibaka was basically the power forward, but you could call him center if you want, but he wasn't listed as a center. I went by what they listed him as. And of course, you got Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, Klay Thompson. I mean, loaded, this guy. I almost rolled out a second team for Durant. I did on a couple players because they were so good, but really it was all guard play for him. Bob Pettit, his point guard, no question. Lenny Wilkins, a top 75 player. He didn't play with a lot of good shooting guards, but at the very end of his career, he had Richie Guerin. He's a Hall of Famer. Played for the Knicks for a lot of years. I got him as a shooting guard. Cliff Hagan at small forward. He's a Hall of Famer. The center, Clyde Lovelet. He's a Hall of Famer. He also played with Slater Martin, a Hall of Fame point guard. Ed McCauley and Zelmo Beatty, Hall of Fame centers. He had some talent on his team. Kevin Garnett, very, very thin team. Who are the best players Garnett ever played with? Well, I came up with Rajon Rondo at point guard, Ray Allen at shooting guard, Paul Pierce at small forward, and Tom Gugliotta at power forward, because he did play power forward very early on in Garnett's career. Who else you got? He did not play with a ton of high-level players. Most of them was when he was on Boston, pretty much all of them. Sam Cassell did make All-NBA while playing with Garnett, but was he better than Rondo? I don't know. I picked Rondo. It's close. Karl Malone, pretty straightforward. I got John Stockton at the point guard, Jeff Malone as the shooting guard, Thurl Bailey the small forward, and Mark Eaton at center. Now that's a pretty good team, but it's not unbelievable like some of these other guys. And the other notables was Jeff Hornacek. Now, yes, he played with Gary Payton, Kobe, and Shaq, but that was his last year. And I mean, if you want to be technical, sure, you could say, oh, he had Kobe, he had Shaq. But for me, he only played with those guys for 1 year. And Karl Malone didn't even play the whole year. So it just felt like I'll mention them, but they should not be in his all-time team because he only played 50 games with them total. George Mikan. He played with basically all these guys his whole career. He's got Slater Martin at point guard, Whitey Skoog at shooting guard, Jim Pollard at small forward, and Vern Nicholson at power forward. 3 of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Oscar Robertson. Shooting guard was kind of tough because you had a couple choices. I picked Tom Van Arsdale, a little bit better than Adrian Smith. Small forward, you could either go Jack Twyman or Bob Dandridge. Now, Bob Dandridge was the overall better player, but I think at the time they played with Oscar, Twyman was a little bit better than Dandridge. Power forward, Jerry Lucas. Center, Wilt Chamberlain. No brainers there. Moses Malone. He's got some options, a lot of options. I went with Maurice Cheeks at point guard, but you got Calvin Murphy, a Hall of Famer. Very good too, but Cheeks was just a little better two-way player. Shooting guard, I went Jeff Malone, but you got Andrew Toney, who's pretty close to just as good. You could go either way, really, with those guys. Small forward, no question, Dr. J. Now, power forward is interesting because you see the name Charles Barkley, and automatically you want to say, well, Barkley. But it was only rookie Charles Barkley. I think Bobby Jones, maybe in 1983, 84 version, was better than rookie Charles Barkley. That's my opinion. Steph Curry, he's got a nice squad. He's got Klay Thompson at shooting guard, Kevin Durant at small forward, Draymond Green at power forward and Andrew Bogut at center. He played with that team. But you also have Monty Ellis, Andre Iguodala, Jimmy Butler, and David Lee. That's not such a bad team either. But he had an unbelievable starting lineup that he actually played with all those guys at the same time with Iguodala. Jerry West. Now, the thing about West is people call him a shooting guard, but he's actually listed as a point guard more than he's listed as a shooting guard. And Gail Goodrich, same thing. People, for some reason, call him a point guard, but he's really a shooting guard. Well, either way, whether you want to call West a point guard or a shooting guard, Gail Goodrich would be his backcourt mate. Because on those 72 and 73 Laker teams, Goodrich was balling out 25 points a game. Obviously, Elgin Baylor at small forward. Power forward, I went Rudy LaRusso, but Happy Hairston is right there. But LaRusso made like 4 or 5 all-star teams playing with West. Center, Wilt Chamberlain, and also Archie Clark, again, pretty good point guard, made all-star with Jerry West. Dr. J, like Moses Malone, I got some of the same players. I got Maurice Cheeks at point guard. He also played with Larry Keenan when he was in the ABA. Nice player. Not a Hall of Famer, but definitely got credentials. Shooting guard, Doug Collins. He edges out Andrew Toney. I just thought he was a little bit better, but again, it's close. Power forward, I went with Barkley because Dr. J actually played with Barkley's first 3 seasons. He was putting up dynamite numbers in those second and third years. And at center, Moses Malone, no question. But you look at some of these guys, Larry Keenan, Andrew Toney, Bobby Jones, Hall of Famer, George McGinnis, power forward, and then Billy Pulse as center. All those guys are really good players. I mean, Jones and McGinnis were in the Hall of Fame. But Dr. J definitely played with some nice players. LeBron James, again, he's one of these guys that has such a good squad. I had to make 2 teams. LeBron James, first team. Point guard, Luka Doncic. Shooting guard, Dwayne Wade. Power forward, Kevin Love. And center, Anthony Davis, because he did play center. The other notable players that are not the second team, Russell Westbrook, top 75 player. Mo Williams, he made All-Star with him. You got Shaq, a top 75 player, even though he was older, and same with Ray Allen, even though he was older, he still played with those guys. But the second team for LeBron, I got Kyrie Irving at point guard, Larry Hughes at shooting guard, Chris Bosh at power forward, and Zydrunas Ilgauskas at center. That's a championship level team right there. I mean, this dude played with some of the best players of anybody. Durant, LeBron, and there's one other guy too that I think those 3 played with the most overall talent of anybody. Dr. J's up there, but he's not quite on this level. Shaquille O'Neal, another one that had no shortage of talent around him. I got the point guard as Penny Hardaway. I thought in 95, 96, he was the best point guard that Shaq ever played with. Yeah, he played with Nash in 08 and 09, but I thought Penny was better than Nash in 08 and 09. He was top 10 for MVP in 95, and he was 3rd for MVP in 96. And I just thought Penny was a better player. Shooting guard, obviously, Kobe Bryant. The small forward has got to be LeBron James. Power forward, I got Amari Stoudemire. He was playing really well in 08 and 09. And then you still got Steve Nash, Dwayne Wade, Glenn Rice, and Horace Grant. That would be like a second team. That's a very nice second team, wouldn't you say? Another guy who had played with a lot of talent. Tim Duncan, not quite as much, but he's got some good players in there. For Duncan, it would be Tony Parker at point guard, shooting guard Manu Ginobili, small forward Kawhi Leonard, center David Robinson. Some notable players would be Bruce Bowen and LaMarcus Aldridge. Hakeem Olajuwon, Rodney McRae at point guard. He made small defenses with him. Clyde Drexler at shooting guard, one of 2 players to make All-NBA with Olajuwon. Small forward, believe it or not, I got Pippen on the 99 team. He just didn't have a great small forward. It's either him or Robert Horry or Lewis Lloyd. I mean, who are you going to pick? Power forward, I went with Ralph Sampson because he did make All-NBA when playing with Olajuwon. But you could put in Otis Thorpe if you wanted to, or Charles Barkley. Barkley is still putting up good numbers. Sampson's might have been a hair better, but he made All-NBA. Anybody you want to put there is fine. Wilt Chamberlain, no shortage either. Gail Goodrich, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Happy Hairston. That's the 4 by position. I went by position. I didn't do this stuff I see people doing where they'll put, I got Kobe at shooting guard and Jordan at the small forward. No, not doing that. By position only. But Wilt also had Hall of Famers. Point guard Guy Rogers, shooting guard Hal Greer, small forwards Paul Arizin, Billy Cunningham, and Chet Walker. Dude was loaded with high-level teammates. Larry Bird. Point guard, I got Dennis Johnson. Shooting guard, I got Reggie Lewis. It's either him or Danny Ainge. Power forward, Kevin McHale. Center, Robert Parrish. No question. Some notable players, I got Tiny Archibald, who actually finished top 5 for MVP, and you could make a case at point guard. Danny Ainge made All-Star, and Cedric Maxwell won Finals MVP. But yeah, Bird did play with some really good players, just not as many as some of these other guys. The ones he did play with, he played with them for a long time. He didn't get a bunch of revolving door kind of teammates like a Shaq or a Wilt Chamberlain. Kobe Bryant, his all-time team for me, I got Derek Fisher at point guard because he was his point guard almost his whole career. Glenn Rice at small forward. He played with him in 99 and 2000. Really good player. Pau Gasol at power forward and Shaq at center. Other notables would be Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Andrew Bynum, simply because he made All-League while playing with Kobe, and Dwight Howard. I know he didn't play with him long, but worth noting. Kareem, first team Kareem. Magic Johnson at the point. Michael Cooper at the shooting guard. Jamal Wilkes at small forward, and James Worthy at the power forward position. And they actually had that team from 1983 to 1985? Crazy. Some other notables that are not his second team. Norm Nixon, he was on the trajectory to make the Hall of Fame. Byron Scott, he was actually the leading scorer of the last Lakers championship with Kareem, 1988. Byron Scott, look it up. Charlie Scott in the late 70s, he's a Hall of Famer. Adrian Dantley in the late 70s, he's a Hall of Famer. You got Bob McAdoo, backup center, top 75 player, 3-time scoring champ. Second team Kareem. Oscar Robertson, point guard. Gail Goodrich at shooting guard. Bob Dandridge at small forward. And Spencer Haywood at power forward. Played with him in 1980. All 4 of those guys are Hall of Fame players. What a squad Kareem got to play with his whole career. Magic Johnson, not quite as deep as Kareem though. He had Michael Cooper at shooting guard, Jamal Wilkes at small forward, James Worthy at power forward, and Kareem at center. The same team Kareem had. Other notables were Norm Nixon, Byron Scott, and Vlade Divac, because he is in the Hall of Fame. It's just worth mentioning. But obviously that's clearly the all-time team, no doubt about it. Even though you could say that when Magic was playing shooting guard the first 3 or 4 years of his career, Norm Nixon was the point guard. You could slide him over if you wanted to. Bill Russell. Big misconception about Bill Russell, and I'll get into it. All-time point guard, no doubt, Bob Cousy. Shooting guard, Sam Jones, but you could go Bill Sharman. It's really close. Small forward, John Havlicek, no question. Power forward, Tom Heinsohn, no doubt. Now you look at the notables over here, and you could call that the second team. Casey Jones, point guard, Bill Sharman, shooting guard, Frank Ramsey, small forward, and Bailey Howell, power forward. That's the Hall of Famers that Russell played with. I know people like to say, oh, he had 7 or 8 Hall of Famers on his team. When? When did he have 7 or 8 Hall of Famers on his team? Because when he got drafted to a team that had Bob Cousy and Bill Sharman. That's true. Absolutely. And you had what? Frank Ramsey? He was coming off the bench. He was not really anything special yet. Tom Heinsohn was a rookie, sure. But that's what he had. He had what? 4. Okay, that's not 7 or 8 now, is it? And did you know that Bill Russell's last 3 championships, 1966, you know what the starting lineup was for Boston? Point guard was Casey Jones, shooting guard, Sam Jones, small forward, John Havlicek, Tom Sanders, a non-Hall of Famer at power forward, and then Bill Russell. It was only 4. And then in 1968 and 69, you had, in the backcourt, I believe you had Don Nelson starting, along with Sam Jones in his last 2 seasons in 68 and 69. You had John Havlicek, you had Bailey Howell, and you had Bill Russell. They only had 4 Hall of Famers on that team, too. Now, people are going to say, oh, you only 4, okay. Well, the Knicks had what, 5, 6? They had Dick Barnett, Dave DeBusschere, Earl Monroe, Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Jerry Lucas. They had like 6. Bill Bradley. They got like 7 Hall of Famers on that team. And I'm just saying, Boston didn't have as many as what people think. There was a stretch in the early 60s where, yes, they had 6, 7, 8 Hall of Famers. Absolutely. But people act like it was that way the whole stretch. And it's just not true. Michael Jordan, all-time team. I went back and forth on point guard. I was like, should it be B.J. Armstrong? He made All-Star of the Year after Jordan left. Maybe, I don't know. But I went with Ron Harper. I just thought his defense, overall play in the second three-peat deserved him the starting point guard spot on the all-time Jordan team. Small forward, obvious one, is Scottie Pippen. That's the easiest one on the list. Power forward, I went Rodman, but you could make cases for a couple other guys. Center, I went Luke Longley, but you could easily make a case for Bill Cartwright. I thought Longley was a hair better offensively, Cartwright a hair better defensively. Orlando Woolridge, he averaged over 20 points a game. You got Charles Oakley, he was getting like 12 and 12, that 13 and 13, that kind of thing. Pretty solid power forward. Of course, he was years away from making All-Star. But even still, he's worth noting. Horace Grant, he made one All-Defense when playing with Jordan. And then Bill Cartwright, the starting center of the first three-peat. But out of all those players, there's 2 guys who made the Hall of Fame. That's it. He did not have the firepower of all these other guys. And still has the resume that he has. So I don't want to hear it about, oh, he had a super team. When you put his all-time team together, I mean, it's good. But it's nothing compared to Kareem or Shaq or Kevin Durant or LeBron James. Come on. Nothing compared to those guys. And if you think there's somebody else that should go in there, let me know who it is. For any player. Anybody maybe I overlooked or didn't mention, let me know. I'd love to hear it. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing it, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I give daily content, and that's it. Until next time.